everyone, Karen the Warp Spinster here. Welcome to my channel where we cut and sew and see what happens. Last week we did some pieces for a spinner that I had envisioned to go with the flowers that I did a few weeks ago. And I did make a couple more after I left you. So I have two oranges. I decided I wanted to alternate with orange just for a little pop. It's not a lot of pop actually because there are oranges in the pinks as well. But I just wanted to show you what it would kind of look like this. And then in Procreate, I also played with it a little while just to see what it would look like as a full spinner. And as I recall, I added in a little, narrow bits of embroidery or something, but I don't know if I'd want to do that in the end. So that's a possibility. It also looked kind of like a flower with very narrow petals. Lots of choices. And today I thought I would explore the possibility of making it a thistle-like or thistle-esque type of flower using this same concept. And I decided that the one thing I would try to be true to is that I would do purple on the thistle. I suppose somewhere there are thistles that are other colors, but I'm going with purple because that's what I picture in my head. And this is not going to be exact, and there are different kinds of thistles that look different. So I will just play with the concept of having sort of straight, shorter curves coming out from a central, I don't know what they call it, floret maybe, and then have some green sepals around the bottom of it, and then a stem. And grass, of course, could be done with greens as well. So, and I'm going to do a white background again because I'm just picturing things with white background. You, of course, when you're exploring it, could do whatever you want. So I have some purples here and some greens, and I've got some white off to the side, lots of scraps. And these are going to be much shorter. It could be, and we could do a real contrast there where the thistle petals would be relatively long, and then the sepals could be smaller curves down at the bottom. I'll have to think about what kind of shape I want for the floret because that differs depending on the kind of thistle that it is. The thistles around here are considered invasive. We're in an agricultural community, so this, I'm not in Scotland. And I just have always liked the thistle and the look of it. So this I will work on. I will put a link to the video from last week in case you didn't have a chance to watch that. And I'll come back after I decide what I'm going to start with and how long I think I want them to be. And we'll just kind of do a quick review of how I'm going to do these curves. All right, I have a strip of white and a strip of, I think this must be Cave Facet. And this, I think in general, thistle petals tend to be kind of straightish, but we're doing a thistle-esque, so we can make it curved. This is shorter than what I was doing last week, so it will be, there will be fewer curves to it. So I still want them to be quite gentle. I don't know, it's a gloomy day today, and I think it has fogged my brain. So now I'm going to go ahead and sew this curve and I will also include a link in the description to my video on how I do improv curves, in case you haven't seen it. And I'm ready to sew this together, and then I'll just do the other side, and we'll come back, and then we have to think about how we're going to do the floret and a sepal. Get those covered right off the bat, and then I'll make a few more and see how it looks. And here is one thistle petal, thistle-esque petal. And now I want to think about the sepals, which are the parts that covered the flower bud until it bloomed, and then they just kind of curl up around. So I want these to be pretty short actually, so I think I could even do something like this. Even just this tall is probably plenty tall, so I will do basically the same thing with this, except that it's, you know, the point will be down here. So I will do that, and then I'll probably do at least a couple more of each of these then, and we can figure out how we want to do the floret. In some thistles it's kind of a cone shape, and in others it's a more of a cup shape. So let me do a little bit more work on this, and we'll see what happens. Here is one calyx. A calyx will often be more curved, but I'm trying to stay with gentler curves, and of course this is thistle-esque. You're going to get really tired of me saying that. And I'm going to make then a few more of these, and then we'll figure out the floret. What kind of floret do you think we should have? A cone-shaped one, cup-shaped, or I don't know, square, whatever. Give some thought to what you would do. Here we are so far, and I must say that I quite like this. Now I need to figure, there will be a stem here, which will be a longer green stem here. Now I have to figure out what we're going to do here. And I've got a couple of choices. I could do it, imagine a stem in there, where the top part is curved and this is basically almost flat so that it comes to points over here. Or I could curve it more and it still comes to points over there. I could do something to round off the edges, but I don't know that that's what I'm looking for. I think I want both of these curved. Whether or not it looks like a thistle is up for debate, but it's thistle-esque in my mind. And I can spread these sepals however I want. Originally I was thinking, well, I have to make sure that these are not joined down there, but I don't know why they shouldn't be sewed together so they're going into the floret. Well, let me know what you think. Of course, I won't know until I've probably made a decision, but let me know what you think anyway. I mean, I could just do a rectangle for that matter, but that doesn't seem right either. So, all right, I'm going to first of all do a longer piece for the stem. And I'm not going to worry about leaves because the idea of doing thistle leaves just, I would do it with applique, I guess. So, all right, let me do the stem, and then I'll maybe, don't want to use green. Maybe I'll do a piece of paper or something that will do the curved shapes and see what we think about that. Here we have the stem, and it is quite long. It extends a long ways down. I wanted to give myself lots of room. And now I think I might be ready to, I'm going to start out by putting the calyx pieces together. And I know this is an even number, which I don't generally do, but it's actually 5 because visually that stem is going to be a part of it. And I want it to be relatively symmetrical. I don't know why, because I'm really not a symmetry person. I'm not going to try to analyze the psychology of that. So now I am going to figure out where I want these. I want them to be sewn. And then I'm going to except I'm going to want to put them together. This does not have to be precise, so I don't know why I'm worried about the whole thing. But let's do, and the calyxes, there's no way of getting around it. I'll have to look that up. Is it calyxes? Maybe it's calyces. No idea. Anyway, they wouldn't necessarily be sort of overlapping like these are going to be, but these are going to be overlapping. Don't know what to tell you. All right. And then I can just stitch that, cut that basically along the line that I had folded there. I'm not being too precise about it because this is improv. All right, so I'm going to stitch those, do the same thing there, and then basically the same thing with the petals. I'm almost feeling as if I want these to be shorter. So I'm going to trim a little bit off them. I don't want to do a great deal at once because what if I'm wrong? Wouldn't be the first time. I know. And they aren't going to overlap at the bottom like they did, but I think even just that little bit helped. I may end up doing more in the end. You can see a little more of the stem here, maybe. Not that it matters. It's just a gently curved piece. Could be straight. I could do a contrast with all of these curves by making this a rectangle here and making that stem straight. I think I'm going to stick with the curves. And I'm almost wondering if I don't want to put on a couple more petals. I think I probably want to do that. And then I'll address this. You know, it is me, so we could do a big old circle in the middle. We'll see. Anyway, I want to do a couple more of these, and then I'll come back and wrap up for today. Don't you think it just looks off balance, like the calyxes? Darn, I meant to look that up while I was sewing. Let's see if we turn them under a bit. Then they really are not overlapping, which is not, I mean, I could re-sew them, but, oh, maybe that's better though. Decisions. There are always decisions. And of course, they'll be somewhat shorter when the seam goes in. All right, 2 more of these. Here are our semi-finished pieces. I've added these strips onto the side to mimic the background that will be there. It's just too jarring and deceiving to the eye to have these corners right on top of the green here. So here we are, and here's a shape in the center that we could add in there, which I really like. And I'm not so sure that these calyces, I looked it up, both calyxes and calyces are correct, but calyces is more commonly used. So that's a possibility. This almost looks a little, well, when it's pieced together, it will look better. So that's an option. I like it better than I thought I would, actually. But because I'm a circle fan, I'm going to try a circle in there, which will be much more dramatic for certain. And it will mean that these calyces look a little more in proportion to things. But I am almost thinking, I think if I put them closer together there, they'll look better. So I'm uncertain which I want to do. Please let me know in the comments what your choice would be, or if you would do something completely different. Let me know your thoughts on this. And I'm not going to be working on it probably anymore today. Certainly not while I'm filming, but other stuff on my plate today. So, you know, as I say, we aren't really a democracy, but we sort of are. So, and I love to hear your opinions and your ideas for what we might do. That gives it, this looks more like a thistle to me. This looks more fantasy imaginary kind of thing. Oh, this would be kind of cool as the sun, wouldn't it, with the solar flares we're all enjoying these days. So let me know what you think. I like them both, to be honest with you. Maybe I could do a series of them and they all look a little bit different. And one has one like that and one has, I don't know. Anyway, I do want to mention one other thing, and that is that I'm thinking about doing a membership for this channel. I will still do I will still do everything I'm doing now. I know budgets are tight for a lot of people, and I'm happy to continue to brainstorm with you as I do here. But there are some limitations on this platform for how I can interact with you, and I would like to, I feel like you're friends, and I want to be able to talk with you when I can, and for you to share things that maybe were inspired by an idea you saw here on this channel, and whatever else I can think of that might be valuable. It's not coming tomorrow. I'm still thinking about it. But what I would ask of you is, what would you like to see in a membership? Which would be, I'm thinking like $15 to $20 a month. As I said, I'm still going to do what I'm doing here, but this will be an opportunity to do some sharing and talking and brainstorming things together, or whatever you think you might like to do. So I would love to hear from you, your ideas about that. And I guess for that matter, if you think it's a good idea or a bad idea. So let me know in the comments what you might like in a membership. It would be, you would subscribe through my Thinkific classroom, just because it's easier for everyone to handle the mechanics of that. And then most things would be done via Zoom. But my Thinkific classroom, I can also set up some other things, let you know, galleries of what you all have done. Actually, let me think about that. I think I can. And if that is the case, then I could still offer that part of it at no cost, because I would love to see what everybody's doing. But anyway, so let me know what you would like to see in a membership. And I will be pondering and taking notes and writing down my own ideas as well. That will be it for today. I hope that I will see you next week, whatever we do next week. In the meantime, be well, be safe, be happy, be quilting. Peace out.